Okay, so thank you so much for joining me, Emma. I'm so excited about interviewing you today. You have had a phenomenal journey with your business, and I know it's going to be very inspiring for everyone to hear. So I wanted just to kick off because I've known you for a few years now, but I'd love
Sure.
it if you just tell people a little bit about you and your business because, yeah, this is exciting for them to hear.
Okay. So I am a psychotherapist specializing in disordered eating. I would have qualified in 2009, so I've been in the area for over 10 years now. And I was working away in private practice, for the first 5 or 6 years. I was always quite entrepreneurial because I came from a business background. So I went back to train in psychology at the age of 30, and I'm 51 now. So, between doing my training and then becoming qualified, it's kind of been a 20-year sort of journey. Um, but I suppose around 2015, 2016, I noticed that I was beginning to feel a bit sort of burnt out, kind of compassion fatigue. Disordered eating clients are quite difficult to work with. There's a lot of quite a heavy trauma and, kind of background stuff in the story. And I was becoming a little bit disillusioned. I felt I'd hit a bit of a ceiling. I was a bit frustrated with therapy as a profession, I suppose, because if you're in private practice, there's very few opportunities for promotion. And that was something that I was really struggling with because it was like, well, okay, the only way I can earn more money then is to um, have more clients.
Mm.
Maybe try and put my fees up a bit, but there's really very little wiggle room. There's very much a ceiling on where you can go.
Mm.
So that was kind of frustrating me because, as I was getting older and I have a daughter and, I just wanted a bit more sort of maybe flexibility in my life, and to have a little bit more balance around my work. The answer was not to take on more clients and work more because that would have killed me completely. So I was really looking around for kind of the solution to this problem, and I didn't really know what to do. And then I came across you, Shelley. And I can't even remember how or how that happened. I think I think somebody else might have been connected with you on Facebook, and then I saw a post, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So one of the things I liked when I read your profile was that you had been a therapist yourself, and that you had worked in Ireland.
Mm. Mm.
So I contacted you, long story short, signed up for your business mastermind and went through the 9-month process with you, which allowed me immediately to move the business up to another level where I was offering online support. And I had an online program that people could buy, a video-based program, but what I really enjoyed was during the time and just after the time that I finished working during the mastermind program, I launched an online group program,
Yeah.
and using all of the tools and all of the learning from your training, and it just worked beautifully in terms of the metrics and the returns and the ratios of like money spent versus revenue in. I made over €20,000 running this group in autumn of 2017.
That's
And
fantastic.
it was phenomenal. I was absolutely delighted. I couldn't believe it, and so that was great, and I was
I think
kind
that
of
was a
enamored.
transformation, wasn't it, that you went through? Because you'd gone from being a counselor. I know when you came to me, you were just completely at that burnout. Like
Mm,
something needs to shift because
mhm.
I am not making the income that I know I'm here to make, and I'm just working all these hours, and yet, I might as well stay at home with my daughter. And to then get to the place where you'd got a program that you could start running, a group program, and being able to sell that and generate €20,000, like
Shelley, that was only step one.
that. I know
Because
that's what I'm so excited about sharing for everyone here because you've been on multiple steps since then. So
yeah, so that was step one, and I was delighted, and it worked really well for me, and I've always loved group work anyway, and I love training and delivering training and working with groups, and that's something I've always been keen on, and I've always done it. I've always had small groups, but I mean, it's really only like I'm an old bear, so I was pre-internet, pre global connectivity. So like I was running groups of for 8 and 10 people in my centre in Sandyford in Dublin, and that was fine. That works too as a revenue model and as a lower cost option for clients as well, which is very important to bring into consideration here. that, you know, really some of what this is about is being able to offer clients a lower cost option, because not all of them can afford to attend a therapist one-to-one, you know. So what came out of the group program, though, was interesting, because I had to come up with a sort of a structure to what I did. And there was a bit of a structure to how I worked with clients. I mean, it wasn't that everybody came in blind and we just went into open-ended therapy. I've never worked like that. I'm a fan of the time-limited program and having people coming in and knowing how much they're paying and how long they're going to be here. And clients like that too. It takes the uncertainty out of it. They don't want to think that they're going to have to come into a therapist and be there for years, you know, talking about their mother and talking about what happened when they were 3, and, you know, even though you do get to talk about all that stuff. But I've always been a fan of, you know, things being kind of time limited and kind of fairly, contained. So what came out of doing the group program was I had to come up with a program. Like, I had to come up with a structure for this 8-week sort of program that I was doing for the clients. And, you know, kind of rewrote a lot of the stuff that I had used before, and I was putting some new stuff into it. And out of that then kind of came the really strong sort of 12-session model of therapy that I started using with clients in my practice. And what it meant was I was able to put up my hourly fee. And I was able to say to clients, you know, like, I'm a specialist and this is the area that I work in, and it costs more, but, you know, there you go. That's, you know, you're dealing with a specialist and that's the end of it. Yeah. So I was able to put my price up, and I actually started selling the 12 weeks as a program. So client would come in, I'd offer them a free consultation. So free 20-minute consultation was kind of like my marketing hook. And they would come in and meet with me. We'd have a chat for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I had a nice little assessment questionnaire that came very much from your discovery call script that we used. And, you know, I would talk to clients through, you know, that script. And I got a very high conversion rate, because really I found what was happening was clients were coming in and they were almost wanting to qualify me. Just, they might have read on my website what I do. They would have read up on the program. They knew what it cost. I'm always a fan of just telling people on your website, you know, what you do, how much it costs. Be clear, you know, people don't like, you know, any surprises. I find personally that, you know, other people feel, you know, not to put the price on the website, but I'm a fan of it, because you're going to rule in or out people straight away on that basis, and that's okay. But I started selling this 12-week program, which meant I could charge a higher price for my fee. Now, I remember, Shelley, when I was going through the process with you, and when I would have come across, I think you and I were working together in, I want to say it was 2016 into 2017, and then I ran my group in 2017. But when I was working in 2016, we were still only just coming out of the recession here in Ireland. We were probably still kind of in it in our heads. And I have been afraid to put up my prices because of the recession. And I have been charging €55 a session, which was ridiculously low, considering that I was working in a specialist area. So the first thing I think I did while I was on the program with you, I think I bumped my price up to €70. I seem to remember having a conversation about that in one of the groups. But then my hourly rate went up to over €100 when I launched the program. And I partnered with the nutritional therapist in my centre, who I would always have sent all my clients to anyway, given the specialist area that I work in. And so we charged, you know, I charged X amount of money for the full program. And out of that, I paid Rachel to see the clients for 2 sessions. So 2 of the 12 sessions were actually with Rachel, the nutritional therapist, and the other 10 were with me. And we both got paid over €100 per session. And, you know, so that bumped my income up quite a bit.
A big increase, because you basically doubled your hourly rate. And then also guaranteed that you're going to have 12 sessions. So you're going to have a nice program with the person. You aren't going to have to deal with someone coming in for like 6 sessions and then leaving.
Yes.
You're going to be guaranteed that you're going to do that deeper work.
Yeah. So, and then I had the group program as well. So, you know, and people signed up for that. I think I charged €495 for that. And I had 17 people signed up altogether in 2 groups.
Value. I mean, like, that's still, you know, absolutely incredible value. You're still definitely offering something that is affordable to a lot of people. Because I know as a counsellor, I know that's really important as well. You don't want to get to a point where actually your prices are such that it's not getting to the people that need it most. Yeah. Wow. So some really big shifts. Yeah.
So. But I wasn't finished there.
Yeah, no, I know. There's still so much. I'm so excited for people to hear. I kind of know the punchlines. I'm waiting for that.
So,
Keep going.
2017, we were talking about moving back to Dublin, and because we were down in Cork at the time, and this is before I did the group program, and I was in supervision. So for anybody who doesn't know about psychotherapists, we have to go to supervision for every 15 to 20 hours we do with clients. We have to have 1 hour of supervision, which is kind of counselling for the counsellor, if you like. So I'm with my supervisor down in Cork, Charlie, and Charlie was fantastic. But I was saying to him, Charlie, I'm doing all this and I've done the business thing, and I was telling him about what I was doing with you, and I was going to do the group program, and I went up to Dublin in the autumn and blah blah blah. And he was great, fantastic. But I said, I still can't see how I can get up to this higher level. I was really struggling with this. I was like, what do I do now? Do I go back and do my PhD, or do I go back and do my master's? I've a postgraduate diploma, but not a master's. Do I have to go back and do my master's? Do I go into lecturing? How do I transition out of being the clinician, into the higher level? And, and should I do that? Like, if I stop doing what I'm doing, I have really strong feelings about that, because there's not an awful lot of therapists who work in eating disorders. It's not actually the most popular area of therapy to work in. So if I stopped working, and this isn't my ego, but it genuinely was like, I've spent the last 10 years becoming an expert in this area. So if I suddenly disappear off the face of the earth, in a clinical perspective, like, what happens to the clients? What happens to what I know, what I've done, and Charlie had, obviously, he knew who I was and where I'd come from, and I used to work in the rehabilitation hospital, and he said to me, but if you had stayed in the rehabilitation hospital like in 2004, what qualification would you have now? Where would you be on the the hierarchy in the hospital? And I said, I don't know. I definitely be clinical manager of some description, or could even be program director, or, you would have, like, that would have been 13 years, 14 years in a hospital. So, like, where would you go to in 14 years in a hospital? You would move up the ranks.
Yeah.
And he said, Emma, the thing is, when you're in private practice, in the absence of somebody else being able to offer you a promotion, you actually have to promote yourself.
Absolutely.
And that was just such a light bulb moment in terms of him saying that. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's actually it. I have to start teaching other therapists how to do what I do. That's how I promote myself. If I was in a hospital, that's exactly what I would be doing. I'd be teaching them what I did and how to work with the clients, and I'd be supervising them, and that's what I would be doing. So I brought all this back to Dublin with me. I did my group. I wasn't rushing into anything. I had to really kind of think about it and, kind of let it settle. And I was having a couple of severe doses of imposter syndrome. Who did I think I was? Trying to step up and teach other people to do what I do. And there's other therapists who are far more qualified than me. And, what will everybody else think? And what will other therapists think about me being so commercial? And they're going to think I'm really greedy, money grabbing, all of those money blocks that I know you go into a lot of detail on, Shelley. So I did my group program. We took on a couple of trainees in the centre, actually, the centre that I own, and we started supervising trainee therapists. So we would give them their clinical placement, and we did monthly supervision with them and stuff like that. And that kind of helped me kind of say, yeah, actually I do know my stuff, because I was able to answer all their questions. I could see exactly where they were in the process, and I wasn't taking any money for that. Like, that was just, we were doing it in conjunction with one of the colleges. And I went and I met somebody who I've known for a while, who would be, I suppose he'd be an investor really, and ran this idea past him, like, if I trained therapists and kind of set up a network to, work in the specific area of binge eating disorder, what do you think? He was like, oh, that's a brilliant idea, how much money do you want, kind of thing. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm asking for. I just wanted to float it past somebody commercial, to see what they would say. And then I walked away from it for about a year. I couldn't do it. I actually couldn't do it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Couldn't go there. Just don't know what. Just walked away, started training in something else, like went off and actually signed up with somebody else to do, a program.
Yes, you were doing the other kind of work.
I was doing Tara Love Perry's energy work, yeah. And during that work, what I learned about myself was that I have habitually had this pattern of getting so far with something, like 90% of the way, and then I leave it and I walk away and I go and do something else. So I never allowed myself to take the return on my investment.
Right.
I was keeping myself at a level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I keep going round and round and round, but I'd never get up to the point where I made the money, I made the return, I could relax, I could stop working.
Yeah.
And that whole experience of doing that training was amazing for me in terms of clearing those blocks and really understanding why I was keeping myself back and stopping myself from going and doing what I wanted and achieving. A lot of it was to do with old family messages, you know, don't put your head above the parapet, don't be showing off, you know, be quiet, and something about don't threaten men. Like don't be masculine in your energy, you know, because you know, been out there and been earning and been strong and you know, earning loads of money is a masculine kind of a thing. In my family, was the message.
So there were limits that you were brought up with that said you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't.
And you have to work hard to earn your money, and you know, money doesn't come easily. And if it does come easily, you're obviously on the fiddle, or you're doing something wrong, or you know, you're pulling the wool over people's eyes, or you're cheating people, or something. All of these messages, and I think they're very common for a lot of people and for a lot of women.
Yeah.
So I did quite a lot of work on that actually. Had to kind of get all of that, and then it came to the point where I was faced, you know, with the long dark night of the soul, which is really like, I can't not do this. I actually have to do it. I have to do it. Like, even if I fall flat on my face, I actually have to do it myself, because I have to, if I want to bow out of seeing clients and doing therapy, I have to hand on what I know to somebody else. I have to hand it on so that it continues. It's my legacy. It's like, I didn't do this for no reason. I haven't spent 10 years sitting in the chair listening to clients for nothing. So I had to hand it on one way or another. It didn't matter whether I just trained 2 people or whether I trained 200 or 2,000 or 20,000. I had to hand it on, because there's no way I could walk away without it.
Yeah.
Without, you know, passing it on somewhere. So I just said, okay, I'll train 2 of the trainees in the centre.
Oh, I love that. We just tentatively start doing the training and tentatively give you that promotion.
Yeah. Trained 2 of the trainees in the centre. And my thinking behind that was because in the centre, the trainees offer the low-cost service. Yeah. So if clients needed a low-cost alternative to me, they could go and see the trainees, and I'd be able to supervise them, and you know, and it would all work out quite well. And they loved the training, loved the minute they started seeing the clients, loved the work, loved the structure. You know, it just really resonated with them, and they did really, really well with the clients, and the clients were delighted, and I was delighted. And then I was like, you know what, now I've no excuse. That's it. Like, I've piloted it, I've written it for the girls, I've piloted it, it works. Now I just have to bite the bullet and go for it.
Wow.
And so I did. So I went to the IACP, who are my accrediting body, and I submitted my training manual for accreditation for CPD points, got the CPD points, and ran my first training in October 2018, which is last year.
Fantastic. And so just to clarify for people listening, this is your Eating Freely program that helps accredited therapists to know exactly how to work with emotional eating issues and to have a program and structure that they can follow to support their clients with.
Absolutely. I only train qualified counsellors, psychotherapists and psychologists. And if anybody's in the States or Australia, the licensed social worker qualification will come under there as well. But yes, because eating disorders are always underpinned by some kind of trauma, you know, in the past, whatever, you know, people I train have to have that training, that the specialist training, your mental health professional training. So yes, it's an additional qualification for them, which is we have CPD points from the IACP in Ireland, and we also have CPD points from the Australian Counselling Association. And we are now applying for CPD points with the British Psychological Society. We want to get it endorsed in the UK. But under Irish rule, which is the only organisation I can speak about, it meets the criteria for competency in a specialist area. So eating disorders are a specialist area. A therapist shouldn't be working with a client with an eating disorder if they don't have specialist training. And if, God forbid, if anything happened, they could be open to a complaint or the subject of a procedure, you know, if it was found that they were working with a client and they didn't actually have the qualifications. So our training actually meets that criteria and covers you in the event that you're working with somebody and, you know, God forbid something goes wrong.
That's amazing. So it's a, you know, it's a deep training. It's one that's actually giving them a massive, valuable skill and knowledge that's going to help them work with those clients. It's fab. Yeah. Wow. So this has been such a journey. So tell us now, because I want everyone to hear what you've actually created. So tell us, where are you at with this business you've created?
Okay, so we are now eating.
It's so exciting.
The world's leading network of binge eating disorder specialists.
Oh, what those congratulations.
And we now have 26 psychotherapists trained and in the network, and 12 nutritional therapists, because the program still combines both. The client still sees both a nutritional therapist and a psychotherapist. To the best of my knowledge, a network of 26 psychotherapists specializing in binge eating disorder and bulimia is the world's largest network of binge eating disorder specialists. So that's not even an aspirational marketing line. It's actually true.
It's true.
Wow. But yeah, we are now expanding beyond Ireland into the UK and Australia.
That's fantastic.
So I've just been to Australia. I was in Australia last month at the Eating Disorders Conference down there, Australia New Zealand Eating Disorders Conference. Met a lot of really interesting people. They're very interested in what we're doing because they don't have a lot of resources for binge eating disorder down there.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going back to Brisbane next Sunday week, to speak at a conference of counsellors and psychotherapists, the Australian Counselling Association and American Counselling Association joint conference. And I'm actually presenting at that about my model, because, you know, binge eating disorder is actually a really underserved area. There's so few specialists who can actually work with these clients, and such a high demand. Because when we looked into the research to see what the demand was and was it worth doing this, and, you know, should we be trying to roll it out? You know, I mean, this isn't just, you know, we went to, I mean, I'm a big one for, like, I have to know the facts, I have to read the book, I have to get the manual, I have to tick all the boxes, you know. I don't fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to my profession. Fly by the seat of my pants in a lot of other areas of my life, but not this one. We learned that up to 1 in 20 adults is struggling with binge eating disorder. That's 5% of the general population. It's almost as high as the number of people struggling with anxiety.
Oh my goodness, that is incredible. I didn't realize that at all. So that's
30% of adults engage in weight loss.
Yeah.
Meet the criteria for binge eating disorder, and so should never be going to Weight Watchers or Slimming World to try and solve the problem, because no one's ever going to touch the real problem in that, you know, in that arena.
What's really going on, that deeper. Wow. Yeah. God. So what an amazing journey you've been on, and I'd love if you'd just say, you know, a bit of advice for anyone listening that is, you know, thinking inspired by your story, but is just thinking, oh wow, I don't feel that I can take my business to the next level. They're kind of in that state of experiencing these kind of up-leveling fears. What would you say to them? What would be your advice to them?
Well, I would just remind them that, first of all, I invested a lot of time and money in myself over a 2 to 3 year period in order to get to the point where I felt I could take that next step. And that was a combination of professional development, working with you, Shelley, and doing your program, which is very much like teaching me how to make a proper business out of my therapy practice, and, you know, a lucrative business out of my therapy practice, you know, but they were skills I didn't have. And then the other part of it was some personal development, because, you know, obviously what came up is that I have blocks and I have, you know, issues that are getting in my own way. So a little bit of work on that was absolutely necessary. So apart from, you know, actually looking at maybe the parts that you feel you're weak in or you don't have the skills in, you know, and doing something about it, going and finding the help that you need. from whoever you need it from. That's the first thing. Don't be afraid to go out and ask for the help and get the qualification or get the help, or whatever it is. But then the other thing is, look at how I did it. The first thing I did to grow my income was just put up my prices and develop a program. So, and I was able to deliver that program. It was still a face-to-face program, but I just charged more money for it.
Yeah.
So that's a baby step, or doing a group program, which again, I did, another baby step.
Yeah, leveraging your time. So then you're actually doing the one-to-many rather than just one-to-one.
Exactly. I had 2 groups running. I had one face-to-face in Sandyford and one online, and worked really well. The majority of people were in Ireland, but some of them were, like, I was able to work with people. There was somebody over in Limerick, there was somebody down in Cork, there was, and 2 people were in from the UK, and they came in, on the online group. And then the Dublin one, people just drove in and we met face-to-face. But I ran those 2 groups simultaneously, so was able to advertise for both of them at the same time and, bring in the money. So, I think because of what we did in training, and just to say this, we had a very solid sort of metric around this in terms of we were able to work out. And this is the thing, like these are the things that maybe you have to learn, is that there are metrics around marketing and getting clients. So I spent, I think overall, something like €2,500 in the end on Facebook ads, and I actually got a Facebook ad specialist to run the campaign for me because I knew I was never going to be able to do it at that level myself. I can't remember if you actually introduced me to that person. I think you might have, but anyway. And I generated over €14,500.
Amazing.
Out of running the 2 programs.
Amazing.
So
yeah, it definitely paid for itself.
Well, it 10x, or whatever, 12x, whatever it did. So that was the first thing, just to get the skills, get the knowledge, go and do the training, feel comfortable in, going to the next level or doing the new thing. And then remember what I did with the training of the therapists, I investigated it, then I pulled back, then I went over and I did something else, and then I came back, and then I went, I went again. And I started by training 2 trainee therapists for free, just to test it, and gave them a couple of clients as their case studies, and they reported back to me on their 2 case studies. And then when I was satisfied that they were delivering the program, properly, they're off now working. They're both qualified now, working towards their accreditation. One of them has just got her accreditation actually, and they're seeing Eating Freely clients and happy as clams, and it's been a win-win for everybody. But I tested it for free on 2 therapists and did the case study, and that gave me the framework then, allowed me to iron out any kinks, them to ask questions, feedback on where I wasn't being clear, and for them to see what questions came up. So a very safe way to road test the model.
Yeah, and then to have them actually working with clients and to witness how they actually got on in practice. I mean, this is a really great way of beta testing it, so that then when you roll it out to other therapists, accredited therapists, you knew exactly how it was going to be.
I was as confident as I could be, that it was going to be fine, and the client and the therapists were going to be fine working with the clients. Yeah.
Amazing. And I know that you're also really good at getting the right support. So I know you've got a fantastic business partner.
Yes.
As well. And your own awareness of going, I'm going to go for investment. I'm going to get that next level support with the business to grow it to the next level. That I think is also something that you've developed during this process as well. You've grown your entrepreneurial brain in a lot of ways, I would say.
Well, I've grown. I wouldn't even say that it's that I've grown my entrepreneurial brain. I think my entrepreneurial brain has always been there. I've just limited it.
Okay.
It always has been there, but it was like I was limiting it because of maybe messages that I had received about, say, stepping up, making loads of money, being whatever the word, everybody has their own kind of blocks. But the other thing that you do learn is don't try and do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And actually my business partner, as you mentioned, my business partner, Tim, I am the clinical person. And I have the entrepreneurial smarts to know what's going on in the business now, and I understand the business, and I can talk about the financials, and I can do all of that, but I hate all of that side of it. So I know a lot of therapists don't like the business side of things, and they don't like the admin side of things. But when I stepped up, And it's interesting that today is Thursday in my house, because I stepped up on so many levels. Like this whole 3-year experience that I've been through of just pushing myself and trying to clear anything that was getting in my way. On a Thursday, where this is my front room. It's our office. So Tim's desk is over here and Gillian's desk is over here. So we now have a paid part-time administrator.
Amazing.
Tim is my business partner. He started as a consultant to the business. So I started by paying him as a consultant to help me with the marketing of the business, because that's his area of speciality. And he then approached me and asked if he could invest in the business because he saw the potential in it. So I didn't even have to look for him in the end. I found him as a consultant, but he came to me and said, I want to be part of this. I think it's fantastic. And I've got the commercial and the marketing expertise, and I'll do the financials and I'll do all the bits you don't like. You be the clinical expert and the trainer and support the therapist, and I'll do the business end of things. And so he's there. Gillian is our part-time administrator who's in with me 4 mornings a week. And on a Thursday, I also now have a cleaner because I had to stop doing housework because I'm now working full-time on my business. And so on a Thursday, the house there's 4 of us. 4 of us here. 2 paid. Myself and Tim are not quite getting paid from the business just yet, but it's getting to a point where
expanding it, aren't you, as well? So you're
because we've gone up to the next level. You know, we're not taking. I mean, I pay myself when I deliver training. I take the training fee, and so yeah.
Then it's the bootstrapping, these different phases with business. Yeah,
that's a decision that we've made.
It's amazing. So, I mean, massive growth, and so inspiring for anyone listening, because, here comes the world. Basically, you're going to be not just the number one in the world, but you're going to be actually the largest,
yes.
By potentially rivaling some of the other non-specialist area networks.
Well, we cannot find anybody else out there who's doing it the way we're doing it, which is absolutely making sure that we've got it signed off in every jurisdiction we're going to deliver the training in, that it's got CPD points from an accrediting body, and we've more layers to add to that in terms of certification. And, we just have to be able to stand over our credentials. And, that just means that people can be sure that they're getting a very high quality standard of training that is approved, but also that the clients can be absolutely reassured that this time they're going to an expert and they're getting the expert care. And you know what? We don't even charge that much for the program in real terms. I mean, our price point here in Ireland for the program itself is just under €1,500, which is nothing in real terms. I mean, plenty of our clients have spent that before on anything from hypnotic gastric band, to personal training, to, a dietitian cooking their meals for them, to, all things that won't actually address the underlying problem. So, we're very comfortable with our pricing. We're very comfortable with the standard of the training that we're delivering to therapists. But I think as well, one of the things that I feel really passionate about, and only because I came through so many of my own blocks, is the amount of therapists who have, I suppose, blocks around being commercial, having a lucrative, thriving practice, being successful, being seen to be comfortable. And, it's almost like you nearly feel you have to be putting on the poor mouth when you're a therapist, poor me in my sandals.
Completely.
So, our whole ethos, like the overriding ethos for the whole network, is that there is positive reciprocity down every part of the business. And we really want to give therapists the tools and the knowledge that they need. Like, what we really want to feel they're being given is a whole therapy business in a box.
Yeah.
Like, you do our training and you come into the network and you take our support, and you can have a lucrative, thriving practice in a niche area that is only going one way at the moment.
Absolutely. So I know that you're expanding in the UK right now, and I know that there's probably going to be quite a few accredited counsellors and psychotherapists listening. What's the best way, if they are interested in becoming one of your licensed professionals, to deliver the Eating Freely program? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Sure. If they, you can just email me directly, emma@eatingfreely.com, or go to the website. We've got a small brochure website for the therapist training at the moment, which is at www.eatingfreely.com. and there's an expression of interest inquiry form that you fill out. That's really just to qualify people, to make sure that they have the qualifications that we need them to have before they do our training. But just send in that form and we'll arrange a call. And I actually do online calls like this, Shelley, exactly like this, with the split screen. And we'll just have a chat and we'll let you know. We'll be running a training in January, and hopefully a second training for Ireland and the UK before June. So there's one in January, there'll be another one before June, and then we'll be running our first training in Australia in September 2020.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. This is just great. So yeah, I mean, I just am so inspired by everything that you've done and the way that you keep growing your vision for your business, but keep growing the business itself, and so that it can make so much more of an impact on so many people. You know, the number of people that you already have managed to impact with the training that is being delivered is huge. Many more than you could as one person as a clip delivering it directly to the clients. You're now exponentially helping people with an area that I know causes a lot of suffering, and often is one that people find so hard to solve.
Yes.
You know, and I feel lucky because I've been able to refer people to you that are in my.
And thank you for your referrals.
And you know, and for them to be able to get the right help. You know, because at the end of the day, that's what's so important. So I'm just going to see if we've got any questions. We've got.
Sure.
We've got a lovely message from Vicky saying hello. So
hi, Vicky.
Written saying hello. I know you know Vicky as well very well. I'm just going to refresh my screen, see if anyone has commented. If anyone has any questions, do just pop them in now and pop them in the comments so we can have a look and see. Yeah, we haven't got any questions at the moment, but we'll just see if anyone pops any up. But it's been fantastic talking to you, Emma. I mean, you know, it's such an incredible journey you've been on, and so inspiring. So I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to be able to interview you and share this with my audience, who I know there's so many that are going to be sat there thinking, wow, if Emma can do it, I can do it.
yeah, and just do it one step at a time. That's always the thing, one foot in front of the other. And you know, it's not like I went from 0 to 7 figures. I didn't. You know, I sat at 0 for a long time, and I did it very slowly and incrementally, and you know, I got there in the end.
Moved it up, and yeah, you've been just moving it up and up.
Yeah. And if anybody asks any questions later on in the comments, if anybody's watching this back after it's finished and they're watching the playback, I'll try and pop into your Facebook group a couple of times, Shelley, and I can answer the questions in the comments as well if people want that. Or as I said, they can email me on emma@eatingfreely.com. Any question. It doesn't have to be about my training or about eating freely, but even about the process, or you know, all of what I've spoken about in terms of what I went through to get to where I am today, because that's what you're about, Shelley, is to actually encourage and inspire your group to kind of take that next step and invest in themselves so that they can get the return, which is exactly what I've done. And that's all I've done. You know, I invested money in myself, I invested time in myself, I invested energy in myself, and now I'm getting the return on that investment. That's all it is, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So thank you so much, Emma. I will pop some of those links into the post. So if anyone's watching, I'm going to pop the links into the post so you can have Emma's email, etc., in the comment section, and just write off to her about your interest. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joining us, whether you joined us live or you joining us after we've completed this interview. And you know, we will be having more interviews we do these almost every few weeks or so, and you get to meet other experts. But for today, thank you so much, Emma. It's been brilliant.
Thank you, Shelley. It's been lovely to be here.
Bye now, guys.
Bye, everyone.